Welcome to the second Angel Organ Life and Bioscience, or what we fondly refer to in acronym form as AOBIO. So when I say that 15 more times, you will know what I am talking about. I'm really delighted to welcome you all back to Amaterra for an incredible afternoon of connection, education, innovation, and not so terrible views. The past 6 months have been a crash course in the life and bioscience sector for me personally. This is an industry with a $144 billion market that is expected to exceed $161.5 billion this year. And yes, get excited. I love that. Lots of money. This expansion is driven by many factors, including heightened demand driven by aging demographics and the rising prevalence of chronic disease. Breakthroughs across scientific disciplines have enabled new therapeutic options to be developed more quickly, efficiently, and precisely. Innovation is increasingly occurring at small, private biotech startups and bootstrapped, academic-led startups. Today, you will see both of these. And they are just a small example of the powerful life and bioscience presence right here in Oregon and Southwest Washington. These companies have the power to save, improve the quality of lives, and benefit society in a myriad of ways, to put our region on the map as an innovator of truly life-changing products that become a driving force in local economic development. And it's really an honor to have been a small part of their growth and evolution within this life and bioscience industry. I'm going to pause and introduce myself. And if I sounded really smart before, then my name is Kara Toronto, and I'm the Executive Director of the Oregon Entrepreneurs Network. And if I got any of those facts wrong, my name is Jane Doe, and I use ChatGPT. Now, I know we have some OEN board members in the room. Could I have our board members stand up today? Or wave if they are already standing? Thank you very much. What I would like to point out, can you all raise your hands again? These are our board members from Medford and Bend. Very exciting. Okay, also here today are my colleagues Alex Gamboa-Grand and Riley O'Brien. Please wave. Riley's over here. These things do not happen without them. Riley in particular is the master of putting these beautiful events together. And we have two fantastic summer folks joining us. Andreas is from Mexico and is a fellow, so talk to him. He's got social entrepreneurship in his background. We have Cornelia, a Reed College student who is an economics major and I'm sure would like a job after she graduates next year. So please talk to her. Also, thank you for all of the staff at Amaterra and everyone that is here from the AV department. We really appreciate your support. So here at OEN, we're especially proud to be hosting this second year of AOBIO because it is in great partnership with some other amazing organizations. And these three organizations have been tirelessly nurturing Oregon's bioscience sector for many years now. They would be the Oregon Bioscience Incubator, or OBI, we like acronyms, Oregon Health and Science University, OHSU, yes, and the Oregon Bioscience Association, Oregon Bio, yes. This was the second time putting on this program, but it's my first, so I'm very grateful for their guidance and patience as we worked our way towards today. They were instrumental in the fact that this has come together. Specifically, I would like to recognize and give a round of very loud applause when they finish reading the names. Phil Barish, Lisa Bozinovic, Jeff Cole, Heather Ellis, and Renee Miller. And I would like to also profusely thank John Williams, OEN's board vice chair, and our volunteer investment director for this program. What that means is that John and I spent, 27 hours over the last 2 weeks on the phone working through this, and so I would like John to come up here for a moment. He did all this work for free, but he gets a really nice bottle of wine. And he drove so far.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
This is one of my favorites. Thank you, John. Okay. I think I have to do my own slides now. Is that right? Yeah. This year, We have been incredibly supported by the team at Onami, so please give them a round of applause. This crew also helped with the due diligence process, so special thanks to Skip Rung, Jay Lindquist, Nancy Lime, and Kyle Gee. Hours on the phone, I am not exaggerating. So thank you to everyone of our angel investors as well who has taken the leap to join the AOBIO investment pool and help fuel the growth of one of these local innovators. I know it was new territory for many of you, and we all learned a lot together. This is why we have experts like from Onami. Thanks as well to the Oregon Growth Fund for helping build the AOBIO Fund, which I can now say my script is wrong because it is today, as of 15 minutes ago, $175,000. I know. So if you like round numbers, you can still join us. So if you're thinking, wow, 200,000 would sound so much better and those zeros would look really fun on the check, you can come right up to me as soon as I get off stage for the panel. And if you want to put in your 5, 10, or multiple of 5K investment, find me. You're also invited at some point in the future, also today, if you're an angel investor, to make direct investments with any of the companies. They are all raising. So consider supporting your local life and bioscience community. You can also support the AOBIO Emerge Initiative awardee. So the Emerge Initiative is designed to support very early stage companies led by founders of color. And our partner in the Emerge Initiative, Marquita Jaramillo, from the BFM Fund, will be here shortly to tell you more about it and present that award. I saw Marquita in the room. She's waving. Okay, good. Okay, so much. So AOBIO is a full court press community effort. That is an understatement. A key part of this community are the sponsors. These are the companies that are willing to put dollars on the line to help build the bioscience sector, and we are particularly pleased to see successful local founders supporting the next generation of entrepreneurs. Huge thanks to ABSCI, Aranora, Autodesk, Business Oregon, Folio Consulting Group, George Fox University, HP, IMS Capital, OBIO Trotty, OHSU, Onami, Oregon Bioscience Association, Rain Catalyst, Repario Health, and Beartex. Please join me in a round of applause to thank these sponsors for their support. Last year's AOBIO award winner was Biomodem. For those of you that were here, their company develops wearable robots to promote mobility in people who have difficulty walking. Its exoskeleton devices can help with rehabilitation. We invited Biomodem, and Ray Browning, Biomodem's CEO, was unable to attend, but we wanted to give a really brief update on what has happened since they secured $300,000 in investment in 2022. So Biomodem has scaled their sales of wearable robots for academic researchers and are forecasting $1 million in revenue this year. They continue to invest in research demonstrating the clinical effectiveness of their products and are planning to launch a new product in early 2024. So check out their website, biomodem.com, to learn more. And just a huge congratulations to the Biomodem team for all their success and the folks in the community that invested to make all that success possible. So round of applause. Okay. I think we're like 9 minutes in, and now I get to say, let's get the show on the road. Next up, I am really excited to welcome our esteemed panel of entrepreneurs from around the region. We are delighted to host this conversation with life and bioscience founders who are finding success in growing a thriving business. So welcome to the stage. I'm going to get this all correct. Rachel Dreilinger is the co-founder and CEO of NeuraMedica, a medical device company developing innovative products for neurosurgery. Hi, Rachel. Holly Rockweiler is the co-founder and CEO of Madorra, which develops solutions to improve quality of life after menopause. We all thank you. We do. And Smriti Zaneveld is the founder and president of Lazarus 3D, which allows doctors to practice on a 3D printed patient-specific replica before operating. And our amazing moderator, investor, and entrepreneur out of Bend, Oregon, and partner at Portland Seed Fund, Jenn Lynch.
Hi, you guys. Good afternoon. It is so gorgeous. And it is so nice to see so many people in the room this year. It's amazing that all of you came out to support these companies and hear from these incredible women. And I am so excited to get to talk to them on your behalf. I'm going to ask them some questions, but towards the end, if you have questions for them, just put your hand up and we will figure it out. So I'd like to start by having each of them tell us a little bit about themselves and their company. So explain the company, but also explain how it came to be that you were leading this company.
Is this on? Okay, good. Wow, this is really different from Zoom. I haven't been to a lot of events, so I'm just really thrilled to be here. Thanks so much for inviting me. My name is Rachel Dreilinger. I'm co-founder and CEO of NeuraMedica. I've been a biomedical engineer for over 23 years now, maybe it's 24 at this point. We are developing, or actually I used to say we are launching a product. Yeah, so good. So we have developed and we are launching a bioabsorbable surgical clip for closing the dura mater. So that's the membrane that covers the brain and spinal cord. And this product is called DuraFuse. We did get FDA clearance in July of 2022, so last year. Thank you. Yeah, so it's been a great process. It's been a definitely I don't want to say hard, but yeah, it's been a hard and long road, a journey to get to FDA clearance and get to our early launch of our product. We were able to do it raising about $3.6 million. A majority of that is grant funding. We initially received funding from OHSU, so a grant from OHSU to develop that. It's actually a technology out of OHSU, so the Oak Tree BIP program. We have investment from ONAMI, we have NSF and NIH grants, and then we had a big private investment of $1 million as well. So is that enough? Okay.
Perfect. So I'm Holly Rockweiler. I'm also a biomedical engineer. I started the company Madorra, so I'm co-founder and CEO. And I like to say that I'm an activist in a lab coat. So I started my career as a biomedical engineer working at Boston Scientific. It was an awesome introduction to the medical device industry, but I really wanted to get closer to the patient. So I went to Stanford and did a fellowship there, and that's where we laid the groundwork for what is now Madorra. And I fell in love working in women's health, and it's really exciting to see that really take the stage and people acknowledge how important it is, especially even the shout out just here. It's awesome. So at Madorra, we're treating vaginal dryness and atrophy, which is not a topic people talk about a lot, but that's actually changing. Just like 2 weeks ago, Drew Barrymore was talking about it on her talk show, right? So that is vastly different than how it was when we started the company. But we are pre-FDA, so we know how hard it is, but we're in clinical stage, so we've treated almost 100 patients at this point and are working to get through the FDA process.
Hey everyone, I'm Smriti Zaneveld. I'm the founder and president of Lazarus 3D. Lazarus 3D has one mission, which is to help improve patient safety and outcomes for surgical care. Our technology is called PreSure, the preoperative surgical rehearsal platform that essentially allows us to take scans of patients, MRIs and CTs, and create replicas of those anatomies and pathologies in soft tissue. So it's not real, it's all synthetic, but it allows the surgeon to basically exercise the plan that they have already created in real time before they operate. And that technology is FDA cleared. We received that in 2021, end of 2021, launched last year. And this year, we're really expanding. So we have really great partnerships with large health systems in the US, and we're also expanding. I'm really happy to share this. We're expanding into the UAE in Q3. And so we just signed all the agreements, and it's been a good journey so far. And of course, we bootstrapped this company, and so it wasn't until last year we raised $9 million. So total till date is $10.4 million, but really we tried to avoid raising at all costs and just get as far as we could till we really needed to fuel the funnel. And yeah, here we are. My background, I have a PhD in genetics, and my background is really been very focused on precision medicine from the get-go, really been at the cutting edge of CRISPR and gene editing. focusing on neurodegeneration. So, but in my first year at Baylor College of Medicine, I ended up really chatting with surgeons and identifying this problem in healthcare. And that's how Lazarus was born, too.
Okay, amazing. I will very quickly introduce myself. I know I am the least interesting of the people up here. I'm one of the partners at Portland Seed Fund. We, of course, are an early stage investment fund based here in the Pacific Northwest. But my other capacity is as the chair of the Oregon Innovation Council. And so what we do is help connect state money with innovation-based startups like these. And I am so privileged to be a part of that organization and get to be on the ground floor with so many incredible startups that are doing good work while they are doing profitable work. So I come to you as a person who's spent a lot of my volunteer time working on this, and I'm so thrilled to be able to speak with all three of you today. So the common thread is that all of you are research scientists. I don't know if you know, both my parents are research scientists.
I'm not.
You're not. You're a biomedical engineer. You are a scientist. Let's say a scientist. That is an incredible career, and you can do incredible work as a scientist, running a lab or, being part of an engineering team. Tell me why start a company? Like, why not just lean into this academic career or this profession that you obviously spent so much time and had such an affinity for that you got that far?
On the academic side. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so as mentioned, my background is in gene therapy, and it wasn't until 2016 that the first gene therapy treatment was FDA approved. 30 years later, it's called Luxturna, and it was to treat blindness. And so similarly, in my little lab, I was doing my experiments and had created a treatment for a rare condition called retinitis pigmentosa. And so I'd already done my clinicals and everything was good to go. And so we're like, okay, where do we go now? And it was really timely because I could have used Luxturna as a predicate, but then it turns out that Baylor would have owned everything, right? And so also, even though the path was clear, it wasn't so clear because every other company on the horizon that was doing that kind of work got acquired by every other bigger company. And so I don't know what happens to those technologies, but sometimes they get shelved, and I didn't want to be on the shelf. And so I had this other opportunity where I could run with, the foundation and sort of like the technology that we had developed in my kitchen at the time, which was separate from Baylor and separate from anybody else's involvement. And we'd also got the Baylor licensing group to sign off on that. And so that was really important. And that's how we were able to run with it because we saw the value of it from the clinical pilot, which was just a dozen patients, and it's published now. But 100% of those kidney cancer patients that would not have had it was unclear if they would have had a positive outcome, had a positive outcome. And so I cannot tell you that it was because of Lazarus 3D's platform, but I'm sure that, I would like to say maybe that it had a role in that. And so seeing that value was the driver for me. And also I knew that if we didn't do it, we weren't sure if anyone else was going to do it.
That's so funny. It's like the exact opposite of what I usually hear, which is like, look, if we don't go in and do this, like someone else is going to. It's such a massive opportunity, and you're like worried about the patients, right? Like, no, we really need to do this because the patients need it. So that's incredible.
I would say maybe pulling on the same thread, like I said in my intro, part of why I was so excited to be at a startup was the direct patient impact that we could have so quickly. So when I was at Boston Scientific doing amazing work, we're life-saving technology that we're developing, but I was so personally removed from seeing that impact. We had one day a year that was called Quality Day, where patients came in, and I was like in the front row with my tissue box and loved it. I was like, I need to inject this more into my life. So I thought a startup would be a great way to do that, and so that was part of my interest. And I would say, like, personally now, having lived through this, the pace is just different because, well, for us, we're constantly keeping track of our runway and trying to make progress so we can raise more money and get to the milestones we need to, versus when I talk to friends who are more academic in their pursuits. Not to say there's anything wrong with that. I mean, it's a great partnership between industry and academia that exists. It's just a different kind of timeline and not necessarily as much understanding of how it gets translated, maybe. So this is a good fit for me, but I stand on the shoulders of other researchers who've worked in academia and produced great research that we can then utilize to, for instance, measure the effect of our device in our clinical trials, which we'd be lost without that.
So I'm not a researcher. Again, I don't even have a PhD. And I worked at engineering companies as an engineer for many years. And then before I started NeuraMedica, I was a consultant for over 10 years. And I really enjoyed consulting a lot. It was wonderful. And if you asked me if I ever wanted to be CEO and start a company, I would have said no. It wasn't really something on my radar. But I did start working with this neurosurgeon over at OHSU on this project. And I was encouraged by some of the people around me, some of my mentors, to sort of take this project in particular to the next step. You know, we got to a point at OHSU where we had developed some of the technology, and it was kind of like, well, what next? It had been about a year. And we had submitted a couple of patent applications and had prototypes, and that's where I would say, a little bit pushed into taking on the responsibility of being a CEO. That's not something that I had as a goal in my life. And looking back, if I had known how much work it would be, I might not have done it. But it's just been such an incredible experience, sort of stepping away from consulting, running a company, raising money, stepping into a role I didn't really even know I could do, and having that support from the mentors around me and business advisors around me. So that's just been really phenomenal and such a great experience. So I feel like anything that we can do to sort of help others who are coming up is really valuable, because it is such a difficult process, very time-consuming and challenging. It really pushes you outside of your boundaries.
Rachel, you're from Oregon, is that right?
No. No, I grew up in California for the most part. I was born in Hawaii. I lived in Salt Lake, San Diego, kind of a West Coast, Seattle. I've been all over the place.
You've been in Oregon for...
I've been in Oregon for a long time, probably 20 years now.
And so it's time to start this company, and it is OHSU technology, but you must have made an affirmative choice to grow the company here.
Oh yeah, so we love Oregon. We've been here for quite a while, and we're very committed here. And I really forgot to mention Business Oregon, who has also provided a number of matching grants for us and other grants. They have been a wonderful support and resource as well. So I love the idea of creating sort of like, because I'm in the med tech sphere, helping create that sort of med tech hub in Oregon, where I grew up in San Diego and I worked in San Diego, the Bay Area. I know Seattle has a great kind of med tech, biotech hub. We really need that here, and I love being able to contribute to that, grow the company, develop new technologies, and then also be able to help some of the up-and-coming companies as well.
Yeah, so you guys too, who made this choice. Holly was in Boston and educated in the Bay Area, and Smriti, if you came from Baylor, again, a choice to be here. Could you talk a little bit about why Oregon, and not Boston, and not the Bay Area?
So we started the company out of Stanford, like I mentioned, and so we were in the Bay Area and actually still have a strong presence there. So I feel like I really won the lottery, because I got the lifestyle of living in Portland and Oregon, with still a lot of great resources from both locations. But I agree with everything Rachel said. I think it's a really exciting community. And frankly, when my co-founder and I moved here, we were like, okay, what do we do? OBI, okay, we go to OBI, and it's been a great way to it's been a great way to plug into this community, and it's only grown, and so it's really thrilling to be here. I think that when I make the lifestyle comment, it's true in that I think it goes beyond that, but a really great understanding of what a whole person is and what that requires to create a strong leader and strong company. And I think some of the other places I've lived, you can guess, have a much something that goes too far, I think, in terms of a work-obsessed culture. And I really like that. My husband and I joke that when we moved here, instead of asking, what do you do, as the first question at a party, someone would say, hey, what hike did you go on this weekend? And it's like, oh, that's Oregon. Yeah, this morning, yeah. So it's a great place to live, and I'm excited to see this arena growing so much.
Yeah, I share a similar story to you, Holly. I've only lived in big cities. I was born in Mumbai, and I lived on the East Coast, so like New York City was my jam, and then Houston for a long time. And so I think we get so caught in just all of the stressors that are environmental that if we eliminate those stressors and just step away for a moment, which we do when we vacation, we can think clearly and we can, be more creative and be more efficient. And so when I would visit Oregon just, for like Thanksgiving, or when I went to Alaska, for a week, and so I just realized that that's the life that I wanted. I wanted to be close to nature, and I wanted to be able to sort of turn it off and just go out on a hike or go to the river and take my raft, or go to the ocean and take my a little fishing boat out, whatever, right? And so that was the life that I was really seeking my whole life, I guess, and didn't realize till I learned that it exists, the opportunity. And that was really here in Oregon. So leaving Houston was probably the best decision of my life, not to mention huge shout outs to Oregon Bio Association, Business Oregon, Otradi Onami, and really the universities too, super collaborative. We just got the initial response from a grant that we're collaborating with the University of Oregon on. And all this, even the State Department and the Senator Wyden's office even, right? Every bit of the process was so supportive, and that's not normal. That is really not normal. It was not a toxic environment. It was if you win, I win too. And that is a very atypical ecosystem. So I think we should be really proud.
A thing that I am confident of after being a full-time investor for the last 12 years or so is that capitalism does not care how often you want to hike or raft, right? You have to be able to raise money and sell product and hire people, and presume all three of you have been able to do it. So talk a little bit about advantages and disadvantages of doing those things here, hiring and raising money.
Raising money is hard in general, and it is a little hard here. There is a supportive environment, but there's not a great VC culture here in Oregon. So one strategy that I had for raising money was just do everything. So I would apply for grants, trying to identify and find different grants. I would go to investor conferences and meet investors. Of course, network and talk with everyone I know. It's just targeting everything. And then with that strategy, I was sort of able to, have that funding trail and not really have too many gaps in the funding. So, it is a challenge, and I think that we need more funding opportunities here in Oregon. And one thing that I think is really cool about our companies is that we might end up in a situation where we can turn around and become investors, and we might be able to do that, staying here in Oregon too. So I just see it sort of, coalescing into this, really good environment. Honestly, I've seen it improve just over the last. I've been doing this 9 or 10 years now, which I can't believe it's been that long. I've actually seen it improve quite a bit.
Yeah, I'd say something similar. We started in the Bay Area, and that's where, venture capital was kind of born. So I think that's where we started the company. I had no idea that not every city had just as much opportunity. So that was a surprise, and I should have known. But it's definitely growing, and I think that's something that, the more incentives we can put in place to help that grow will only help all the companies that are trying to really make changes or, improve lives. So I would say one silver lining of the pandemic is being able to Zoom with an investor anywhere in the world, frankly. And that has changed a lot. I think previous to the pandemic, people expected, okay, you need to fly to Boston or the Bay Area or New York and then do the pitch in person. And the return rate on these pitches is low, so that is an expensive and time-consuming process. But if it's just dialing on Zoom at 8 a.m. to talk to someone in Spain and then 9 a.m. to talk to someone in Texas, like that's a lot more doable. So I think that that has really helped, and hopefully that levels the playing field. And we're seeing that there's, more interest in people living in kind of those non-hub cities, and so I think that's going to help too. And so for us, just to answer your hiring question too. We have, as I mentioned, a lot of our team is based in the Bay Area as well, and that just happened to be the specific skill set we were looking for. That's where we found it, but we have been really thrilled with the people we have met in Oregon, and when we have interviewed and included other people in Oregon, that's been great. And so I think the universities here are a great system to feed into that, and I think more collaboration around connecting OHSU, well, I should say, actually, there was a great program at OBI where postdocs got to come intern at companies, and so that was a case for us, and we actually still work with our intern. She became a consultant for us, and so that's really cool. I think any of these kind of programs that can help connect the needs is a really great thing. I think I'm rambling now, so I'm gonna pass it.
I just quickly want to say that I think even though the VC environment may not be so ripe, which is, I agree with both of you. There are other sources of investment. So private investors actually led 20% of our entire raise. And so these are individuals that are writing checks. They are subject matter experts in areas where we needed guidance and really navigating through the next set of growing pains. They were the experts. And so they came in as private investors, knowing what we were going to need and really helping us support those needs. So that's one thing. And then the second is we moved to Oregon actually because we were able to get such strong talent pools from OSU and UO, like direct streams of biomedical engineers straight like out the door into Lazarus, right? And so like really streamlining that was so nice for us. And we've been able to recruit also from universities in California, and I think people are now understanding like this is maybe the quality of life that they want too. And COVID really helped with all of this on the investor side, where having virtual calls was the normal. And so really it wouldn't matter where you were in the world, and you would have untapped access to everyone anywhere. And certainly that was a much better opportunity, even though it was virtual, than being where I was and knowing the environment. The risk tolerance of the investors in Texas is different. Certainly the ones in Houston are more inclined to invest in oil and gas and software and SaaS, and that's great, but that's not what I needed.
Yeah, that makes sense. So say a little bit more about what Oregon could do. Like, what do you need now, right? So, where you are going, you've raised and you're sort of in a hiring place, and, these guys are like just through their FDA or in the middle of it. So like, what now, right? Like you were able to get started here, raise, make your first hires. Like, what does the next phase look like for the company, and what do you need now?
I think you should go. Okay. I need to think about that, what I need, because, I think I need stuff.
Yeah. Customers.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's some of the same stuff, so I don't think I have anything insightful to say, but it's still, well, first of all, the support. Maybe that's a good place to start. I'm glad you said that, and that's something that you're absolutely right. We can't take for granted. That's not normal to be so supportive of one another. I think generally in med tech, we all want to support each other because we know how hard it is, but specifically in Oregon, I feel like we're all of the same spirit. So keep that up. And then I always need funding, so it's like,
I should have said besides money.
Yeah,
What are
right.
the things?
Yeah. That's all I think about right now. So
It's fine.
So we're a manufacturing company, and so our biggest need was space. And so we started, even when we moved here, in a really small facility, and then moved out into a beautiful space in Albany, Oregon, not Albany, New York. And so now we've run out of space again, and it was really difficult to find space that would accommodate our like growth and expansion, right? That's the next challenge for us. So we finally found a spot in Philomath, and so we're moving actually in July. You're all invited. And so right now we're actually building that space out to our needs and our specs and all that. I think one thing that I really need support from is anyone here that may be connected with health insurance providers, payers, even administrators or health systems. Connections to those folks so that we can better understand what their bottlenecks are and whether we can help them alleviate their pain points. The biggest pain point right now, obviously, is cost in healthcare. How do we reduce those costs? Well, if we reduce errors, certainly that will make a dent on the $1.4 trillion that we waste every year in medical waste, in mitigating errors, right? So that could be a starting place. And so any intros, always welcome. Thank you.
So, even though we have an FDA cleared product and we're sort of launching our product and starting our early sales and doing cases, we're still a startup company. And I think we still have a lot of the same needs as, an earlier stage company. Whether it's funding, grants could still be supportive for us right now. And we are sort of thinking in the future, I want to sort of see how the early sales goes, but we might be targeting a Series A raise in 12 to 18 months potentially, depending on if that's something we want to do to really push sales, like really go national, international. So I think funding is, even though I'm not actively fundraising right now, you're kind of always actively fundraising. You're always trying to make those connections, and you're always open to people who come to you and say, "Do you want me to give you money?" And I say, "Sure, let's talk about that." Even if you're not actively fundraising. So definitely the financing side, and then what you mentioned is having that sort of inexpensive lab space or office space would be helpful and useful to a company, even at my stage. You mentioned before finding employees and things like that, help with that. Sales and marketing resources, if Oregon wanted to provide some help in that area. I think there's a lot of resources that we would be able to use.
This is so great, and I am so delighted that you all have had such a positive experience doing business in the state. Sometimes
Just not saying the negative.
I know. Well, people don't usually hold back.
Negative.
They don't. Speaking as a venture capitalist, people you do not usually hold back from complaining about venture capital in Oregon. So I appreciate your grace about this, doing business here. I know that it is not, we are not a wealthy state when it comes to venture capital. And so we are going to we're going to hear from a whole bunch of companies tonight that are at the beginning of this journey, that have maybe raised a little bit, or they've like pulled together friends and family. And of course, like I said, I don't have any friends who write $25,000 checks, to me. So we all know that even that is a huge deal. Even that that first few checks is a huge deal. So why don't you leave us with some thoughts for those brand new companies? Like what, you remember when you were doing your sort of first pitch situation, like what do you wish someone had coached you on just in that, at that moment?
I mean, I'll just start. So I think the biggest thing I would advise sort of a company just starting out is to try not to get overwhelmed by the hugeness and the gravity of what you're doing. I mean, that's kind of how I get through this, is because if you think about everything you have to achieve, it just becomes so overwhelming. So of course it's important, I think, if you're a leader of a company, to have a big vision and to have some extreme level of optimism, which I think I have. In order to do this, you've got to be able to push through and get through the stressors and the challenges. But that overarching stress of the pressure of achieving that big goal, I find it to be too overwhelming. And really, I just focus on the day-to-day what am I going to get done today? And when I get those things done, then I've accomplished something. And you just keep doing that. Really, I'm sure you can all attest to this. And I say this all the time. It's like running 10 marathons in a row. And you run a marathon and you make an achievement, and then you just start running the next one immediately. You don't even really have a chance to celebrate. And then you just run the next one, and then you run the next one. And that's how you get 9 years down the road with the FDA cleared device on the market. It's really just every day you're getting those steps done. So that's sort of what I would recommend to people sort of starting out.
Yeah, that was great. It's good advice for everybody. I think I would say also for me personally, it's really helpful to tap into what I know helps renew myself. And so for me, that's connecting with patients. So I have a little like document saved on my computer that says, read this when you're down. And it's just different quotes from patients who've been in our trials. And so I think it's very easy to be, I don't know, like a palm tree in a hurricane in terms of whipped around with the latest thing that's making you crazy. But figuring out how to center yourself, because that's really important to be able to, the 10 marathons is good. Yeah, to keep going for all 10 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I want to say that all of us will agree that we all think we have superpowers, but in real life we don't. So, and so to all the founders that, you know, have that go-getter energy and that positive, like, ultra optimism and all of this, you just have to accept it, that you cannot do everything. You have to build a team. And that team is going to be, you know, like, sort of like your decision maker. Like, they are going to make it, or we're all gonna make it, or we're all gonna just like collapse one day, right? So if you're building that team today, you have to make sure that you can trust those people. Like in the middle of the night, if something happens to you, you should be able to call on them and they will be there, right? Like that's the level of trust. This is next level, especially those early team members. And then second is when you're fundraising, and I understand like everyone wants to raise to support their milestones and whatever, right? But you have to recognize that you have to be aligned with the other side. If the investor is not the right fit, just call it. Like as soon as you recognize that, just call it. Like, hey, I recognize that this is not a good opportunity, that I see synergies here. So, you know, I'm sorry to say that, unfortunately, we will not be moving forward with you. It's fine. You, the founder, can do this to the investor, and it's okay. It's okay. They do it to you, right?
They do, and we love it.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. Go ahead and fire us. We are all on the same. Nobody needs to go to that extra meeting. So yes,
But there are signs. There are signs, and so you'll learn. Like if they don't tell you, like, okay, this is my standard process. It takes this much time. This is my standard check size. This is like I follow or I lead. You can't like leave you hanging, right? So you need to make a decision. Is this investor leaving me hanging? And if that's the case, then move on. It will save you time. Like we all need time. So
Did that happen to you? I mean, I can tell.
yeah, like so many times. And this is like learnings from my own mistakes. So yeah.
Well, the amazing part of today is that one or more of these companies is going to walk away with some money. And so I'm super excited to get to that part of the program. And thank you all so much for sharing part of your journey with all of us, and hang out for a minute so these folks can ask you more questions. But thank you so much, you guys.
Oh, yay. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Big round of applause for our panel. Rachel, I am a marathoner, and your analogy sounds terrible. Because I generally run one and then lay on the ground and then complain about that one for a long time and then think about another one. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. We're really in the show now. So next up, I want to introduce another incredible woman supporting the entrepreneur industry. Marquita is a principal at the BFM Fund, a venture fund that invests nationally in Black founders. And I'm going to hand the mic over to her.
Hola, thanks for having me today. So at the BFM Fund,
while we make investments into Black and innovative entrepreneurs, we also have a series of initiatives to help diversify the venture capital space and make things more transparent and accessible for founders of color. The Emerge initiative is our partnership that we've initiated with the OEN network. It allows us to connect with founders at the concept stage, give them access to network, a little bit of capital, and then create that network, that friends and family network they're typically missing as they're trying to work and build their business. Sorry, guys. So yeah, like I said, we're designed to help level the playing field for BIPOC founders. We offer non-dilutive grants through sponsorship with OEN, and yeah, I'm sorry. We work with various nonprofits locally and nationally, and so based on the nonprofits' demographics and industry specifics that they're looking to fulfill, we create programming based on that. So right now we're working with OEN to do the Emerge initiative, and then right now we're also working with Venture for Them in DC and hosting a pitch competition in June. So here's a slide from some of our past founders that participated in the Oregon Angel Food, AOBIO, and AO Tech in the previous cohorts. So how we do what we do. So pre-award, we're working with our partners to create, market, and solicit applications from BIPOC founders. So that could be referrals from some of our accelerator partners. Maybe they've gotten some early stage folks in that they can't quite support, and so they'll reach out to us and see if we have availability. We host an internal pitch competition with committee members. There's about 3 to 5 folks. They might be past founders, they might be service providers, or they might be fund managers. Those folks kind of help us evaluate where people are. They give pitch feedback for the companies. And then a lot of times they'll actually reach into their networks, whether it's mentorship, access to capital opportunities, or other resources that the founders can be supported at, and they'll connect them with those things. Post-award, we've partnered with accelerators and other funds that are specific to have industry-specific requirements that they're looking for, or a specific founder that they're looking to invest in, and we'll make those connections as well. I mentioned Venture for Them as one of those opportunities, but we also have Portland State Business Accelerator that we've recently connected with. So we work with them to make sure that they have the access to the mentorship, workshops, resources, and other roadmap for success items. And I say that because every founder is very different, so we really like to work with founders to meet them where they are. If we have a connection that currently isn't for them, we will work with them until we can find one. Or we also like to work with partners to see if we can kind of accommodate where that founder is. Right now, a founder that's participating in the Emerge, like I said, can expect to pitch, and they'll get pitch feedback, whether it be on their slides or the deck in general of how it flows. We do have at least like one investor that sits on our committee, so they're getting actual investor feedback of kind of what investors want to look for. We're kind of playing in that friends and family space. We're only providing up to $5,000 at the moment, looking to obviously do more, so sponsorships through OEN can help facilitate that. But with friends and family, we're really looking to fulfill that network that founders of color are lacking. And so us kind of coming in early, finding out what some of those needs are, then we can actually build our mentors and our network around what those gaps are. Mentorship, whether it be from BFM staff or our actual network of mentors and service providers, we like to make those connections individually as we're connecting with founders and finding out what they need. And then resources, I feel like resources is kind of abundance of things. It could be venture capital, but a lot of times I'm pushing more so non-venture capital options. I think founders get tunnel vision looking at venture capital as the only way to support their business when there's so many other opportunities that they could tap into that will help grow and create a more sustainable business long term. Like I said, our current partners are Venture for Them. They're based out of DC, and their focus is on Black founders in the tech space. They run small cohorts of about 6 founders, and they come with actually a small stipend to founders that participate in that program. Oregon Entrepreneurs Network, They offer the 3 tracks that support founders, BIPOC founders, and we have the $5,000 grants that are coupled with that for folks that win the pitch competition there. And then the Portland State Business Accelerator is a newer partnership. They are supporting founders for a year. There's an 8-week stint that they get partnered with a mentor, and then 10 months after they are also get to maintain mentorship with the with the PBSA staff, but also in collaboration with the BFM staff. So if you have any more questions in regards to how to connect with the OEN folks to support and sponsor future cohorts, reach out to Cara and the team. If you have questions for me, marquita@bfm.fund, please feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to answer. And I am local to Portland, so if you ever want to reach out for coffee, feel free to. And so super excited next to introduce our finalist and winner for this year's AOBIO Emerge Awards, Dr. Sayada Dunbar. Come up, please. She is with Cerebeat Wellness.
So I watched Marquita do this, so I know I'm not going to be able to look over that thing. It's on? Sweet. Whoa, that's loud. So first, I just want to say thank you to AOBIO and BFM. This has been an unbelievable experience. I'm a physician by training. I'm board certified in family medicine and lifestyle medicine. I spend my life in a room talking to people, trying to take care of them. Being a part of this is something I've dreamt about, I've thought about for years, never thought I'd get here. So I'm so appreciative of the opportunity to just be in this space and look out among people that probably do this all day long. This is new for me, and I appreciate this opportunity. Just a little bit of context about me. Like I said, I'm family medicine and lifestyle medicine certified. I was born in West Africa and Liberia. My family immigrated to the States in 1980 when there was a coup at home and we had to leave. I did architecture as undergraduate, worked for almost 10 years, and then went back to school for medicine. So medicine for me was a way to honor my mother and my sister who died really young of diseases that I now know I could have had a better role in helping them. So medicine was a way to give back, right? Honor their life. And I learned really quickly that medicine, unfortunately, is very episodic and it is reactionary. And later in my career, I discovered lifestyle medicine, which is truly how we help people live a quality of life that they want. And that's what Cerebeat was born out of. It is a marriage between my 2 kids' names because they are my rock. They're the reason I do this. So I'm just pumped to just talk about lifestyle medicine and what this means to me. So chronic disease is crushing us in a massive way, and it's gonna get worse. So we spent $4.1 trillion on it in 2021, and by 2030, it's gonna be $42 trillion. And these are diseases that are preventable, largely preventable, cancer included. Up to 80% of cancers are preventable. So chronic disease is crushing our healthcare system. It's crushing the people we love. So the concept is we want to design a platform that allows us to deliver lifestyle medicine seamlessly and within the built environments of the patients that we take care of. Like I said, the current burden, again, $4.3 trillion in 2021, and it's just going to escalate. And it's not just one chronic disease, it's multiple, right? Type 2 diabetes, then they get hypertension, high blood pressure, then they get high cholesterol, and then they end up with renal failure, and all the diseases keep stacking upon themselves, and their quality of life continues to degrade as a result of that. So this is unsustainable as far as the economics, right? As far as the cost of care, with a reduction in quality of life, which is my big reason for doing this, is how do we give people back their quality of life so they're around to spend time with families. So the current approach is honestly not working. We just cannot sustain the way we're taking care of people. So really we need to look at how do we reverse diseases, not just continue with chronic care management, which is really the current state of healthcare. Some of this is educational, right? Some people, I still talk to people today who have no clue that they can reverse type 2 diabetes. They have no clue that they can reverse hypertension or high cholesterol, or that they actually have a role in whether they can get another episode of colon cancer, another episode of breast cancer. They have no clue that they can do that. So there's a gap, right? We need to do a better job educating patients, physicians, that this is possible. In fact, 3% of people actually live a healthy lifestyle based on how we eat, how we move, how we sleep, the things, the lifestyle that sort of change our outcomes. So in our opinion, the way we do this is we have to uncouple care from health, from hospitals and our offices. We tell people to leave their built environments, drive to our office, sit in our office for 15 minutes with the physician after they've waited in the waiting room for up to an hour, have a 15-minute interaction. We explain to them what they need to do. They go back to their lived environment and they have no resources to implement anything we've told them what to do. So we have to change how we do that. We need to meet them where they are in their lived environment and wrap them with resources that addresses the social determinants of health to truly change their outcome and their quality of life. Lifestyle medicine is a specialty, is a board certification, it's additional training on top of your primary that teaches how to reverse chronic disease. It's evidence-based, it's science, it's rooted in lifestyle, and it's a team-based approach. It's not just me. You wrap a patient with the team of people, again, in their lived environment. It's being done now. So I've run a few cohorts with patients. I see patients directly around lifestyle medicine. It's things that we know work, right? We can reduce cholesterol better than any statin on the market, or at least equivocal to statins on the market. We can reduce hemoglobin A1C just as good as metformin, these medications that we've been prescribing that really we don't need to if we can help people change their lifestyle. So lifestyle medicine has been demonstrated to work. We just need a better way to deliver it that's in the environment so that we don't just treat them for 3 months, 6 months, send them back to their lived environment. They don't know how to maintain their goals. So again, it's virtually delivering lifestyle medicine so that we can embed it in individual communities. The team-based approach where we can have folks in the community that can, again, replicate what we've been doing with them directly, right? Health coaches, a nutritionist, get some sponsorship from some local folks in order to embed these things into the community is the hope, so that it's sustainable, right? Any intervention that you do, if you don't maintain it, you just go backwards. So we need to make it sustainable. So this is the way that we do that. And developing, again, a multi-specialty, multi-dimensional platform that's patient-facing as well as doc-facing, and the team that can all sort of wrap patients in order to help them, again, change their lifestyle and change their quality of life. So the app addresses the patient-facing side, which really details all of the metrics that they need to do, and then the physician side with the team members that can put information in so that we're all coordinated, as opposed to, I see you, I send you down the road to see a specialist, I have no idea what they told you, you come see me, I send you over here, I have no idea what they told you. It has to be integrated, and we're just not doing it that way right now. So the market is really physicians, right? People like me who realize that there's another way to do this. So you sort of market to physicians who are interested in lifestyle medicine, who are already doing it. It's a vastly growing industry and a specialty. The American College of Lifestyle Medicine has a plan of bringing on 100,000 physicians and paying to help them get board certified in lifestyle medicine. So there's a huge market. The mayor of New York reversed his type 2 diabetes, and New York is now, across all of the hospital systems in New York, they're rolling out lifestyle medicine, including Sloan Kettering, the largest and most well-known cancer hospital out there. So really, it's a subscription base for the physicians. They pay a fee to get on the platform, which includes the patient-facing and the doc side. All of those ancillary folks, the team members, will be vetted by us to make sure that they are all lifestyle medicine boarded and speak our language, so that they all live in the same platform, so we're all speaking the same language, the patient knows what they're doing, and they get that longitudinal support. It's all been sort of self-funded so far, up until now, working with someone to sort of design, again, this wireframe or user experience to say, you know, how do we put what's been in my brain and rumbling around onto paper and a concept that someone can see and feel and touch and play around in. So that's where we are right now. I'm in the middle of doing that with the hope of having something that we can pilot with docs, run a few cohorts through, show that we can make change, so that we can bring their medication usage down, so that we can reduce procedures, those sorts of things. And then we can then move forward to look at larger systems to say that this is efficacious and this is possible. So at this point, funding partners, whether it's money or mentorship, we want to be really intentional about the technology, right? Healthcare has a huge access issue. It has a huge issue with equity. So we want to make sure that we're being very intentional with what we design. So anyone that's in that space that knows that language and can help us design something that's meaningful and that addresses that is very, very important to us. So that's sort of our ask. Who we are, 3 physicians that all left large institution. Dr. B.C. Ali left Mayo. Dr. Delapo left Emory, and I left Kaiser. So we are fired up to change healthcare. So we want to make prevention the first choice because that's how we give people their quality of life back. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm welcoming Umpqua Bank's Vice President and Manager, Matt Chrisman.
I'll go here then, okay. Yeah, sounds good. Well, wow, what an amazing evening, afternoon, I guess I would say. Way above me, so amazing speakers and very inspirational. So my name is Matt Chrisman. I work for Umpqua Bank. Umpqua Bank is proud to return to the ABIO Awards event as the sponsor of the ABIO Emerge Award. We are proud to support the BIPOC community and to recognize the efforts and success of Dr. Dunbar and her company, Zaneveld Wellness. Said that right? Okay. Entrepreneurship and innovation are keys to the success of our economy. Umpqua Bank is a community bank at scale that is committed to supporting each of the communities that we serve. Once again, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Dunbar on her award today. Thank you. So I think I'll present so now I'm going to present a check.
Thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome. Yeah, you bet.
All right, okay. All right. Congratulations, Dr. Dunbar. It has been a pleasure getting to know you through this program this year. And I have the opportunity to do 2 quick announcements before we get into the real pitches. Number 1, there are 23 chairs up here in the front. So if you're avoiding this like church or school, please come on and take a seat. Number 2, we are going to go straight through until morning, folks. Well, at least until we hit the end of this program. So that means you can feel free to get up, take a little walk around, refresh your drink, grab some food, stretch, take a bio break. It doesn't mean talk as loud as possible because we're about to get some really awesome pitches up here. So as we get settled for the second portion of our event, I want to explain a little bit about how the program's going to work because this is not a pitch competition. We have already done that. We're going to hear some pitches, but the competition is over. So these founders have been working in AOBIO since February when we started the education program. We had 18 local bioscience companies that went through AOBIO. The program focused on investment readiness and featuring successful bioscience founders, including Frank Lau, Kabir Bhatia, Travis Rush, and Patty White. After the education program wrapped up, 15 companies applied for investment. Many of them are here today, so I hope you'll meet them all before the day is out. The angel investors participating in the fund started doing due diligence on these companies and then selected these 5 as finalists. Over the last few weeks, these 5 companies have been put through even more diligence and paces, investor meetings and calls, digging into their teams, their financials, their products, and their potential. So, while you're going to see each of these finalist companies pitch today, the big reveal this afternoon is going to be based on more than the 5 minutes you're about to see on stage. You can learn a lot about a company in 5 good minutes, though. So, here to introduce our first finalist is our program partner from OHSU, Phil Barish.
All right, hello. So I'm Phil Barish, the new Ventures Manager at OHSU. OHSU and OHSU Innovates is really excited to have partnered on this wonderful program for the second year in a row. So thanks OAN for putting on such a wonderful event. It is my pleasure to introduce the first finalist today, ProMedix, one of two OHSU companies that are going to be pitching as a finalist on the stage tonight. ProMedix has developed a digital capillary refill time sensor that makes an objective, repeatable measurement that supports accurate diagnosis of sepsis and other diseases. So please welcome to the stage the CEO of ProMedix, Scott Filer, who traveled across the country to be here.
All right. I've been told I have just 5 minutes. And I typically run about 6 minutes, 14 seconds, so someone is more than welcome. There's plenty of engineers here. I'm sure you will time me. I am Scott Filer, CEO of ProMedix. Thank you so much. It's just thrilling to be here. I'm going to ask you to do something a little unusual. What I'd like you to do, everybody here, I would like you to pinch your finger. More importantly, I want you to pinch the end of your finger right over the nail bed, because that is a wonderful location of peripheral blood flow. There's capillaries there. Now, as a quick show of hands, physicians, raise your hands, please. Okay, physicians, have you done this before? Raise your hand. Yep, and you're assessing peripheral blood flow every time you do it. So thousands of physicians around the world are doing this right now because a decrease in peripheral blood flow is synonymous with a number of significant pathologies, not the least of which is sepsis. Now, sepsis kills more Americans than prostate cancer, breast cancer, and lung cancer combined. It also cost healthcare $27 billion with a B last year. And that's all because there is not a single rapid diagnostic available. In fact, most hospitals utilize blood lactate in order to determine whether or not a patient actually has sepsis. But when physicians are pinching the finger, what they're looking for is the peripheral blood flow. Is it slowing down? I challenge you right now, pinch your finger. How many can time it at 1 second? 1 second? 2 seconds? Hope it's not 2 seconds. 1.2 seconds? Can you tell? Neither can physicians. In fact, the inter and intra-rater variability of physicians pinching is all over the map. It's a subjective observation that's gone on since millennia, since Hippocrates. Now, Andromeda Shock was published back a few years ago, which demonstrated actually that patients that were followed specifically in a finger pinch or evaluating peripheral blood flow instead of strictly blood lactate, ironically, those patients had an 8% better outcome. Now, we interviewed nearly 200 physicians, ICU and ED docs. Without question, they said it was one of two top go-tos for determining whether a patient's becoming septic. That's subjective observation. But what was really interesting was nearly 95% of them said if there was a digital, accurate way to determine peripheral blood flow, in other words, get that capillary refill time, that they would use it as a consistent patient vital sign. We were listing, introducing FlowSense. It is a wearable, non-invasive peripheral blood flow monitor that can be used at the bedside and, by the way, can be used at home. Sepsis is the single leading cause of hospital readmission. This simplifies everything. And it fits directly into clinician workflow because physicians are already pinching fingers. But more importantly, you might say, well, physicians are doing it just fine. They've been doing it for 1,000 years. This is great. Why don't we just keep doing that? The point is, the minute you can get a digital, accurate, objective reading, you can now trend the patient. So for the very first time in clinical care, you can actually see in real time whether the therapeutic approach is having efficacy. Also, we just finished a nearly 600 patient observational study. It was just published. It's back on the back table. We were able to conclusively demonstrate that FlowSense was as accurate as blood lactate. The difference is We get our reading within the first 12 minutes the patient arrives at the hospital. The average at our dear friends at OHSU, it was between 60 and 85 minutes. Big difference. This was supposed to be a video, but we changed to having a demo in the back, and I'm going to explain a couple things in a minute because Steve is here and he's going to get my wrath. So, as a funding history, we've actually been funded approximately $1.3 million in grants, non-dilutive grants, safes, and convertible notes. And I'm excited to share, we've just received a phase 1 STTR from the National Science Foundation. Thank you. That was a slog. At any rate, we have 3 patents. Actually, the 3rd patent is really, I would have to look at my man Steve, probably 3 to 4 patents across 3 families. So in effect, we have really 6 patents. What's really exciting is actually we had our Q-sub with the FDA last November. Am I done? That can't be true. Oh, well, we got great partners, and there's our team, and we just signed an NDA with Medtronic. Okay. That's all right.
Oh, I'm like the worst person. Thank you, Scott and ProMedix. Oh my God. All right, round of applause. You can go and talk to Scott and he can explain all the points when it's over. Good job. All right, please welcome to stage our AOBIO partner and sponsor from Oregon Bioscience Association, Lisa Bozinovich.
Thank you, Kara. Good afternoon, everyone. We're so proud to be a partner this year at AOBIO and to be here today in celebration of the bioscience industry in the region. I have to say, sorry, I have to put my glasses on. I have to say, much like our panelists noted, with programs like AOBIO, alongside other resources and great support companies can tap into regionally, it feels like the perfect time to be a bio startup in Oregon. Would you agree? Okay, great. On that note, many of you are familiar with at least some of what we do at Oregon Bio, but even our members can sometimes be aware of only a fraction of our work. You might know us by our tagline, advocate, educate, cultivate. Maybe you're a regular enjoying the programming and networking at our BioOn events throughout the year. Some of you are taking advantage of the great discounts through our various purchasing programs, which could mean saving 75% on lab supplies. I don't have near enough time. Riley said I had 3 minutes, and I'm sure she's timing me, to share all the value that bioscience startups can gain from membership in our organization, but I'll just speak to a couple areas. For bioscience startups, we work to make sure that your voice is heard in Salem and Washington, D.C. on things like support for CIEs and OTRADI, SBIR reauthorization, and R&D tax credit expansion. This year, we rallied companies to express support for R&D tax credits, which can directly impact your bottom lines at both the state and federal levels. Many companies made the trek with us to Washington, D.C., and many others submitted letters to legislators in Salem with a message on how tax credits help you retain funds and grow your companies. We collaborate with organizations within Oregon and across the country in areas like Georgia, California, Massachusetts, and elsewhere to bring large-scale opportunities to Oregon. I just got word yesterday that Oregon Bio is in the running to be a regional convener for an ARPA-H Investor Catalyst Hub in the Northwest. in the running. But it is in the running. We're also working hard to increase the quality and quantity of opportunities for bio companies to make strategic global connections with investors, large pharma, and medical device partners, as well as SBIR program officers. We do this in different ways, but one of the most impactful is providing opportunities for startups to attend high-impact partnering and investment conferences. Next month, we're leading a group to Boston for the Bio Convention, and another group of companies will go to the MedTech conference with us this fall. We just got back from a trip to Switzerland with Business Oregon and a few bio startups where everyone had valuable meetings. And one of the startups on that trip is expecting at least one potentially $500,000 contract to come from it. If you're not engaged with us, I encourage you to get to know us. And if you are engaged, get to know us better, as I bet there's more value we can be bringing to you. To quote Smriti on the panel earlier today, if you win, we win too. With that, I think it's time to get on with the show. It's great to be here to welcome the second finalist and one of our member companies for the 2023 AOBIO Finale. Keliomics has created breakthrough and patented technology that keeps human tissues and tumors alive outside the human body. Please give a warm welcome to Frank Lau, founder and CEO of Keliomics.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Good afternoon. My name is Frank Lau. I am the surgeon, scientist, co-founder, and CEO of Keliomics. So since the 1880s, scientists have tried to grow human tumors in the lab. Despite billions of research dollars, this goal has remained elusive. Pioneers like Dr. Alexis Carrel, the winner of the 1912 Nobel Prize in Medicine, understood that success would revolutionize every aspect of cancer research and treatment, from basic science to drug development to clinical care. Because we can't grow human tumors in the lab, personalized medicine for most cancers remains a moonshot. Treatment selection remains population-based, making patients their own guinea pigs. Patients suffer side effects without knowing if the treatment will work. And treatment failure is diagnosed only when the cancer returns. This is emotionally devastating. Today, I am proud to announce that Keliomics has made history. On May 2nd, our physician partners at Legacy Health gave us 2 biopsies from a breast cancer patient. The first was a sample of the patient's tumor, and the second was a sample of her breast tissue. This is what these tissues look like in our platform. The blue outline is breast cancer. The rest is breast tissue. 9 days later, we finished testing multiple drugs against this tumor. And this past Friday, we did it again with tissues from a second breast cancer patient. We call this test OncoScreen. Simply put, tumor samples go into our system. We test dozens of treatments outside the body so that patients don't suffer any side effects. The treated tumors are analyzed by clinical pathologists. This tells us which treatment was most effective, allowing the patient to get the best treatment for her cancer. In terms of traction, our first pilot study at Legacy Health is up and running. This covers 3 types of breast and ovarian cancers. Because of OncoScreen's power, we have 10 additional surgeons who want to run pilot studies. OncoScreen is the only technology that focuses on tissues, not just cells. Tumors are made of many cell types, including cancer cells, stromal cells, immune cells, and so forth. Competing technologies only focus on the cancer cells. In contrast, we capture all the cell types in the cancer, as well as the surrounding microenvironment. This means OncoScreen provides maximum accuracy. OncoScreen is an in vitro diagnostic test. Our target customers are Medicare and insurance companies. We have validated our pricing with these payers. Our initial launch price will be $20,000 per test. The first 4 cancers that OncoScreen will serve include the number 1, 2, and 4 most common cancers, as well as some metastatic cancers. Together, these represent a $15 billion a year addressable market. The competitive landscape is dominated by old technologies. In one approach, cancer cells are grown in specialized mice to produce patient-derived xenografts. This was developed in 1969. In the second approach, cancer cells are grown into spheres, producing patient-derived organoids. This was developed in 1980. Despite decades of development, neither one has made the jump to clinical use. We have a well-defined regulatory pathway. OncoScreen will be regulated as a lab-developed test. This allows us to immediately go to market. FDA approval is not required at this time. By next year, we will complete our first pilot studies. That marks the inflection point whereupon we will be revenue positive and will either IPO or raise a Series A. Our co-founder is a practicing IP lawyer. As such, we have a very robust IP strategy. Keliomics owns 3 issued patents. These are not licensed, and we have 3 additional patents pending. Our key trademarks are registered. Our founding team, it consists of experienced entrepreneurs. Collectively, we have had 3 exits, run dozens of clinical studies, co-founded 8 prior startups, and raised over $25 million. Our advisory board is similarly world-class. It includes leading experts in breast cancer, colorectal cancer, drug development, clinical trials, and stem cell science. I invite you to join us as we build the future of cancer care. Thank you very much.
That was awesome. Frank is awesome. Frank was here practicing before I got here. I was like, wow, I feel a lot of pressure now. There's no notes and a disclaimer. Perfect. Okay, great. Well done, Frank. Next up, I'm going to welcome from Repario Health, Riley Stevenson. Riley's right there. Hi.
Hi, I'm Riley Stevenson from Repario Health. I'm here to introduce our 3rd AOBIO finalist of the afternoon. Do I press something? I press something. Vital Flow helps doctors measure, monitor, and predict their patients' lung health. Their software and data platform makes spirometry fast and easy for primary care doctors and their asthma and COPD patients in any setting, both in clinic and at home. Please welcome to the stage founder and CEO of Vital Flow, Luke Marshall.
You don't need to go to a cardiologist to get your blood pressure checked. In fact, you do that every time that you go to the primary care doctor's office, and you can even do it at home. So why is spirometry, which is the #1 metric for determining your lung function, stuck in the pulmonary lab with the specialist? The result of this is a bottleneck for the 40 million Americans with asthma and COPD and a number of other chronic respiratory diseases. This results in delayed treatments because there are 6-month wait lists at every pulmonary lab across the country right now. It results in missed testing. Only 50% of patients with these conditions have ever done spirometry. Can you imagine a cardiac patient having never gotten their blood pressure checked? And the end result of this is reactive care. We have 3.2 million trips to the ER every year due to asthma and COPD alone, and a total cost of $29 billion annually due to ER visits, hospitalizations, and hospital readmissions. And in fact, 20% of COPD patients are readmitted to the hospital within 30 days of discharge. Vital Flow, on the other hand, is like putting a pulmonologist in your pocket. We do that by delivering easy, flexible, powerful spirometry for the primary care setting. This starts with our mobile app that connects to the device and guides patients and a non-specialist provider through doing proper spirometry with guided training, testing, and grading. Our clinical reports dashboard has clinical decision support and interpretation support, along with risk analysis that helps patients get directed to the right treatment. And we do all this by connecting via Bluetooth to third-party, off-the-shelf, FDA-cleared devices. Easy and flexible is incredibly important to get regular testing and proactive monitoring. We do this with real-time integrated coaching, and the result is much more efficient clinical care. We save about 75% of a clinician's time with our method versus the traditional method for doing spirometry in the clinic. We use calibration-free devices, which if you've ever talked to a primary care doctor who's tried to do spirometry before, this is incredibly important and speeds things up dramatically. And we deliver care anywhere, both in office and at home, through our hybrid platform. We make it powerful with better interpretation and proactive care. A lot of this has been funded by the National Science Foundation through the SBIR program. We're now on our phase 2B, and we're building out algorithms for patient risk forecasting, readmissions prediction, as well as additional clinical decision support tools. So how does this work in practice? Well, this is a SaaS model along with recurring orders of equipment. So providers subscribe to the VitalFlow platform. They purchase one-off devices as well as disposable mouthpieces for those devices. And those providers get reimbursed by insurance by existing CPT codes. So we can support both fee-for-service as well as value-based care models. We have over 1,000 patients currently in our customers' clinical studies across the country, including studies with the CDC, Stanford, and Columbia University. In the independent primary care market, we've had incredibly fast sales cycles focusing on these small clinics. We grew 1.5x quarter over quarter throughout 2022 and into 2023. And we have about a 25% demo to conversion ratio for any doctor that we're able to get on our live demo. We're also growing in the health and hospital system groups, mostly because we have a really fast ROI for those teams. Our first health system, Sova Health, had a payback period for the whole system for the whole year within the first 6 weeks of use. And I'm happy to say that in the last month, we have closed our second health system and just launched their first 12 primary care clinics. So after a year in the clinical market, we're accelerating that growth on track to get to $1 million run rate by the end of this year. And we're doing that by focusing on larger accounts, focusing on expanding our at-home monitoring program. And we are pursuing high trust certification. And for those not in the field, that's basically SOC 2 Type 2 third-party audits that dramatically speed up the security review process and can cut down the sales cycle by about a quarter. We have an award-winning team that's bringing VitalFlow to market, and I'll highlight, because I have his book on my stand in the back, we have the author of the textbook on how to do pulmonary function testing as one of our advisors. So we are now transforming asthma and COPD care and encourage you to join us and look forward to the conversations following this.
Okay, thanks, Luke. Right in the wire. Okay, up next, representing Autodesk is Hazel Valdez with PDX WIT.
If I use that, I won't see this. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Like Kara said, my name is Hazel Valdez, and I am the Executive Director for PDX Women in Technology. It's nice to see the underlining theme of tech with some of these finalists. It's really great to hear. Let's see. I am here and excited to be here on behalf of Autodesk. I don't know if you all know this, but PDX WIT is actually housed at Autodesk as we are mentors in residence for the Portland Incubator Experiment. So we're there working with entrepreneurs on the daily if they need advice with regards to equity and inclusion or social justice formats or how you build your company keeping equity lens in mind. That is why we're there. With that said, and on behalf of Autodesk, I would like to introduce the fourth finalist. Currently, surgeons rely on their naked eye to identify nerves. Using Trace Biosciences technology, surgeons can eliminate surgical nerve damage and vastly improve the lives of patients. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage co-founder and CEO of Trace Biosciences, Connor Barth.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. Oh, yeah, I need that.
Might need that.
Thank you. So let me go for it. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, we're a biotech startup creating imaging agents for surgery that specifically highlight nerves and can provide real-time visualization of nerves to eliminate surgical nerve damage. So I'd like everyone to just imagine briefly that they're a patient that was recently diagnosed with cancer or another disease where surgery is the main treatment option, and you're sort of faced with this decision to undergo surgery with a high risk for nerve damage that can leave you with debilitating side effects like pain or loss of function that cannot be easily repaired. I'm a scientist by training working in the field of medical imaging, and I've seen the power that imaging has in improving preoperative planning, disease diagnosis, things like this, but very little has been done to apply it to treatment itself or surgery. And so really our mission is to bridge that gap and to apply the power of imaging to surgery to eliminate surgical nerve damage. So surgical nerve damage is a remarkably common problem of surgery that ruins lives. This causes lasting pain and loss of function for patients, even with just the tiniest nick or stretch or burn from the surgeon. Approximately 25 million patients experience surgical nerve damage worldwide annually. And if you look at the risk, approximately 108 million patients are at risk undergoing surgeries that can cause this problem. And really, when we think about what's causing this problem, it's because surgeons, like was recently said, are using their naked eye to try to visualize nerves. And that's often really, honestly, impossible. Nerves are invisible, buried beneath tissues, they're protected naturally. And so really what surgeons are using is actually anatomical landmarks to approximate their location. And this makes a lot of stress on the surgical team and causes surgical nerve damage without direct visualization. So our solution is called Nerve Trace. And there's some videos of surgery here, so if you're squeamish, a little bit of warning there. But yeah, what we're using is nerve-specific fluorescent contrast agents that allow surgeons to light up the nerves. So this provides, direct visualization of nerves in real time with high contrast using clinically available imaging systems that are present in the OR right now. Our technology uses near-infrared fluorescence, and so this provides a major advantage where surgeons can see nerves that are buried beneath tissues or blood. Seeing the nerve before dissecting it or before making an incision, as you can see here, and also seeing nerve tissue beneath blood or other bodily fluids. So really, we think this can save time in the surgery to improve outcomes and reduce costs associated with surgical nerve damage. And this is, just showing an image. There you go. So you can see that nerve beneath the blood that was pretty much impossible to visualize before. Our target market is prostatectomy. This is a high-volume procedure involving removal of the prostate for prostate cancer cure, where approximately 525 patients are undergoing this procedure annually across the globe. And there's a risk for nerve damage. Up to 60% of patients can experience incontinence or impotence from nerve damage following this procedure. And really, when talking to surgeons, they're really hungry for a solution here. There's been a lot of nerve-sparing techniques, but not a lot of improvement. And importantly, 80 to 90% of these are done using surgical robots that have a compatible imaging system with our technology, so it's easily integrated into that workflow. Beyond that, though, this could impact surgical outcomes in every surgical procedure, and I've listed some high-volume, high-risk surgeries here. And importantly, we've validated our technology works in the relevant anatomy for these procedures as we move towards clinical translation. But if you look at the overall problem, you've got 12 to 15,000 imaging systems approximately deployed in ORs now, and so approximately $10 billion total serviceable market is possible where nerve trace could become standard of care for all surgery. How this works is this would be billed as part of the surgical procedure. Our main customers would be hospitals and payers. We would target high-volume academic surgery centers initially, where this could be easily integrated and key opinion leaders can get their hands on this and working with it. And then beyond that, establish separate reimbursement to expand to smaller community-based hospitals. Really, all in all, this provides strong value to patients and surgeons as patient care is improved overall, reducing surgical complications due to nerve damage and reducing those costs for follow-on treatment, which can be quite high, as well as just easier surgery, making precision surgery more accessible across surgeon experience level and institutions. So far, we've raised $3.8 million, most of which is non-dilutive grant funding to complete every stage necessary for preclinical development to IND approval for first-in-human clinical trials. So manufacturing, regulatory planning, and submissions, and pharmacology and toxicology testing. We plan to initiate phase 1 clinical trials by early 2025, and following IND approval, we can access an accelerated clinical trial protocol as an imaging agent, single administration, lower dose. And these plans were guided by communication with the FDA and our regulatory consultants and CROs. There's a potential exit for us following phase 2 or phase 3 clinical trials when we have some nice efficacy data, and we are in communication and collaboration with several partners who could be surgical device or imaging system manufacturers, contrast agent manufacturers, or mid-size fluorescence-guided surgery companies. We're raising a seed round to complete phase 1 clinical trials. Our team is experts and inventors in the field. We have great advisors and funding sources. Thank you for your attention.
I feel like the person in the horror movie where they're like, oh God, go really fast, run, hide in the closet, she's coming. Thank you, Connor. And now, last but certainly not least, from Rain Catalyst, Nathan Lilligard. do you want?
I got it.
Okay,
It's good. Thanks. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second, AOBIO. My name is Nathan Lilligard. I am the Capital Access Director for an organization called RAIN Catalysts, and we are an entrepreneurial ecosystem support organization. So we help catalyze ecosystems in underserved communities around the Pacific Northwest. We do work in Lynn County, in Benton County, in Lane County, out in Grant County. We've got projects happening right now in Island County, in Skagit County, in Washington, and we've even done some work internationally in Pakistan. So my job is to get capital in the hands of entrepreneurs that we serve. And when it came time to figure out a way to support the early stage ecosystem here, I teamed up with OEN, who is, I want to say, probably the most important organization in the startup ecosystem here in the state of Oregon, right? They do these things, and if it wasn't for them, like, we wouldn't be here doing this, and there's a lot of companies that wouldn't be here if it wasn't for their fantastic events. So what we were able to do is take some money given to us by Business Oregon and put it in the hands of a lot of these entrepreneurs. We're very excited to have been able to do that, because even a little bit of money goes a long way when you're doing an early stage biotech startup, right? Everything is expensive. So I just want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here, and I'm going to introduce our last finalists. So our fifth and final pitch this afternoon is a silica stabilization company. Their technology reversibly coats viral vectors, vaccines, and other biologicals in silica. And he's going to explain to you what that means. This process confers enhanced immune response, greater transduction efficiency, and confers stability in widely varying environmental conditions. Please welcome to the stage CEO of Stone Stable, Kabir Bhatia. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kabir Bhatia. I'm really excited to be here. We are Stone Stable. Joining me is Ken Stedman back there, the virus hunter and recent recipient of the Career Research Award at Portland State. Ajay and Dan are not here, but they're critical parts of our leadership team. Ajesh is here, standing by the table, very dapperly dressed, and part of the scientific team. One of the things that we are really proud of over the last year as a young startup is the caliber of people that we've been able to attract to be part of the scientific advisory team. I'm going to embarrass Phil Bear standing over there, because he's been an instrumental part of our scientific advisory team. John Beal's been a huge help as one of the pioneers of gene and cell therapies at Capsigen. Mark Slifka, the virus expert, and then our friends at Onami and Augie and Kyle, as well as Derek, have been huge help in terms of building our network. We think cell and gene therapies are going to be a game changer. There are currently 24 primarily cell therapies in the market today, and they can cost upwards of $2.5 million per dose. The reason that they cost that much is because they're basically life changers for the patients that they're serving. A beta thalassemia patient requiring blood transfusions every other week can get a single dose of this and not require that again. And so it's a game changer. And it's only going to get bigger. Today, in the future, it's expected that there are currently 3,700 therapies that are being developed right now. And by 2030, we expect 50,000 patients will get treated by cell and gene therapies. So it's a huge market, but one of the big impediments is going to be the big market is not going to be able to tolerate a $2.5 million price tag. And so bringing that price curve down is going to be a critical part of this. We think we can help. There are several impediments to cell and gene therapies. And if you sort of see where the market is today, they've effectively proven the concept that cell and gene therapies work, but they haven't really optimized it. So there's the current viral vectors that are used for cell and gene therapies have inefficient gene transfer. They have high cost for that viral vector load. Anywhere from $10,000 to $250,000 per dose is the cost of that viral vector. And because you need a lot of the virus, particularly in gene therapies, it can be toxic to the body. We have substantial benefits to that. Our coatings that we can coat viruses can improve that gene transduction by an order of magnitude, 10 to 30 times, and they're really inexpensive, and we can lower the viral vector dose that is required for gene therapies, which can make it much more flexible for the human body. We've created a platform technology. So we've coded successfully 6 different virus types. We've focused over the last couple of years on the adenovirus. That is also the viral vector that's used for about 50% of the gene therapies that are under development right now. And so we think that we have a pretty compelling market proposition. Now, there is competition out there, but it really validates our market. So most of the competition are gene transduction enhancers. And what I mean by that is they're expensive. They only offer a modest increase somewhere in the 10 to 30% range of improvement in gene transduction. And they can't be used in vivo. They can't be used in gene therapies that are being treated in the body. Whereas Stone Stable offers a 10 to 30 times, so effectively an order of magnitude higher, improvement in transduction for pennies per dose. And it can be used across multiple viruses. And the market is still nascent, as we just saw. And so there's still the opportunity to create a standard of manufacturing for these. We think our path to revenue is by working with industry collaborators that will then allow us to create partnerships with pharma and that will use our silica technology within their therapies. We've started one such collaboration already. Dr. Andre Lieber, who's a professor of medical genetics at the University of Washington and a founder of Ensoma, one of the pioneers of gene therapy. We're currently treating their bespoke cell lines with our silica technology, and they're very excited to hear that. This investment can be a game changer for us. We expect to use this, if we win this, we expect to use these dollars for some preliminary animal studies, which allow us to demonstrate the gene transduction in vivo. We're building a collaboration arm. It takes us a long time right now to respond to pharma partners. We want to accelerate that substantially. And then thanks to Nathan, we've already filed a provisional patent, or we're working on filing a provisional patent that'll get funded by the Rain Catalyst Fund that'll build on our patent portfolio that we already have across 15 countries. Thank you.
Kabir, thanks for bringing us home. Okay, thank you so much. I would like to have all of the finalists come up on stage for a photo and one giant round of applause. So I see many of you have grabbed a drink, which is well earned. Frank's whispering, yeah. So come on up here and we'll do this fast photo. And then we're going to get on to the announcements because I think that's what everybody is excited to hear. Please join me. Do we have, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Scott, you've just been, you're just the problem child this afternoon.
I was hooked too early.
Oh, sorry, take one of them. We're gonna do, I'm gonna take one of all of them and then I'll get it. I knew you were gonna do that. No, just stand closer.
Look here. Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Real smile. Yeah, there they are. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna stand right in the middle where I get to be extra short.
You're just down here, Kara. You and I are the same height.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Excellent.
All right. Okay. Round of applause. And now, the big moment. It has been a real pleasure for me to get to know these companies. When I said we started in February, like we meant that, and I think we've talked to these folks probably once or twice a week, and then we've seen them at events, and it's really been like a bonding experience, and I will miss you all, and I hope you will keep calling and visiting and join OEN. Okay, so one of you is gonna get that $175,000 investment as of a few minutes ago. So I'm very excited to welcome our AOBIO partner, Heather Ellis from Oregon Bioscience Incubator to the stage to announce the investor's decision. Heather, come on up and take it away.
Do you want me to click anything? Nope, I think I've done it. Okay, great. Well, before I dive in and open this and figure it out for myself who the winner is this evening, I just want to say a few words on behalf of OBIO Trotty. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization funded by the state of Oregon through Business Oregon, so thank you to the Business Oregon representatives in the room today. We are here to support bioscience and health innovation entrepreneurs throughout the entire state, which we do through the state funding, so it is free to the entrepreneurs. Our resources, programs, networking events, entrepreneurial education is all free to the entrepreneurs. And in addition to that, we have our facility, which is a state-subsidized facility because of the money we're getting from Business Oregon. So feel free to check out our table at the back. I'm not going to take up too much time, so feel free to reach out to myself, or actually if the other OBI staff members would raise their hands, come talk to us. We'll tell you more. But I know that I'm antsy to see who the winner is today. So let's dive on in. All right. The winner of the $175,000 AOBIO investment is ProMedix. Come on up here, Scott. Congratulations. Come on up. Right if only you had a device, Scott.
You're great, but are you done? Let the camera over here. There you go. All right.
You want to document it?
Great. Thank you.
Congratulations to ProMedix, and well done to all the finalists. You all did a phenomenal job, and we are very proud that all the finalists today were OBI client companies. So again, come talk to them, come talk to us. Happy to tell you a little bit more, and I'm going to pass it back off to Kara. Thank you, unless you want to say a couple acceptance words. Okay, Scott's going to say a few words.
Hold on, that's a really big check. Well, that was unexpected. I've been told I have exactly 5 minutes. This will take 6 minutes and 14 seconds.
Excuse me. He's been the bridesmaid and the maid of honor at so many of these, he doesn't know what to say.
So we're very excited. I think the late Cy Sperling, hair club for many, he actually died of sepsis. He would say he's not just a hair club president, he's also a member. 18 years ago, and 2 weeks past, my godfather died of sepsis. This is extremely personal to me. And one of the greatest fears I've had is failing. Not failing for me, but failing for all the other families that are impacted by this, because I know firsthand what that's like. So without getting overly verklempt and emotional, thank you to the Oregon Entrepreneurs Network. Thank you to our stalwart and indefatigable partners at OBI. Thank you to Jonathan and Phil and Travis with Oregon Health and Sciences University. We could not have done this without OHSU at all, folks. Thank you to Mark with Biz Oregon. Thank you to Baxter. Thank you to all of you for the confidence that you've shown in our ability to really change lives. Thank you. I don't know how we're going to catch this. Are we done? Yep. You can go away. I can drink now? You can drink now. I've been told I can drink now.
I did not say that. Scott, thank you very much for allowing me to cry once again. I think that's Phil, what are we up to? The 6th time I've cried during this process? Fantastic. All right, congratulations, ProMedix, Scott, team, everyone involved, all the investors. Round of applause again. There is still time. If you want, that check is not actually cashable. Like, we actually have to give them a real check. So there's still time. If you want that to say 200,000 or more, come and talk to me. And the reminder, as I finish up, is that every single one of these companies is very investable. This was not an easy decision. I can guarantee you none of you would have wanted to be on those phone calls. They were late night, they were early morning. It was a very, very hard decision. But since every one of these companies is investable, I have a unique opportunity today at this second AOBIO. Skip Wrong, where are you from Onami? Skip, can you come up here? Skip and his team also participated in due diligence with the OAN AOBIO Fund, and I'm going to invite Skip upstage. So, Skip, are you going to take the microphone and say a few things?
Yeah.
Yeah, good, okay.
When I arrived today, I ran into Amanda, and she said, "Isn't it great that AOBIO 23, it's sunny outside, it's warm, and last year it was all rainy and nasty?" I didn't remember that. What I did remember is what a great time I had, the great group of finalists we had at AOBIO 22, the exciting companies and so forth, and it's even better this year.
I did say the energy inside the room.
Oh, the energy. Well, I was so busy, I didn't even look outside, so I just couldn't be more pleased with what we see. And I want to salute Kara Torreno and John Williams for running a great process that we were, it was just sheer joy and fun being part of it. And at this point, I want to invite Nancy Lime and Kyle Gee, who are entrepreneurs and residents with Onami, to help me with some announcements. I think there are some checks that Kara helped write. Okay, good. So I'm not even going to touch them. But thank you, guys. Onami is a mentor and investor to science-based companies, startup companies in Oregon since 2002. We've invested in over 70 companies, and they've raised over $2.5 billion in private capital, have lots of revenue. We are supported by Business Oregon, and in fact, our friends at Business Oregon, Mark Brady, Jordana Barclay, Jenn Lynch, thanks to them, we received a $600,000 supplemental Task B award, ask me later what that is, so that we can invest in more Oregon science-based companies, and we're going to tell you about more than one of those today. But first, a little historical vignette. You can probably tell by looking at me, this isn't my first rodeo, kind of an old guy. My second angel investing experience was in 2006 with Angel Oregon. I'm not going to tell you about the first one, but over a drink I might tell you. I still haven't told my wife how much I lost. That was in 2001. But I invested in the Angel Oregon LLC. There was just one Angel Oregon in those days. And it was a great experience. I did it so I could learn to be better at my day job, which was Onami. But in the course of the meetings that we had, Rob Wiltbank from Willamette University, some of you of an age may remember who that is, showed some interesting research looking back over many years of Angel Oregon, that if you had invested equally in all of the finalists at Angel Oregon, you would have actually done slightly better than if you had invested in just the winners. Both did well. I'm telling you this as part of a justification of Onami going sort of hog wild at the smorgasbord, because we're going to announce 3 investments tonight. Okay. Okay. All right. So. The first one, we're investing $75,000 subject to final review of our documents, legal review of our documents, in ProMedix. So Scott, if you're not already drunk, come on up. All right. All right. Okay. You don't even have a glass yet. All right. All right.
You're very tall, Skip.
All right. Yeah. Congratulations, Scott. We're just thrilled for ProMedix, and congratulations. All right. All right. All right. All right. Thank you. All right. Thanks, guys. We are also investing $100,000 in Keliomics. So Frank, you come up.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Frank.
Thank you. Congratulations.
And then, okay, what we need?
We need pictures.
Hold that big check up.
All right. And then finally, we are investing $125,000 in Trace Biosciences. All right. All right.
Congratulations, Connor.
All right.
Good job.
And back to you, Kara. Okay. All right.
That was exciting. I mean, I thought it was exciting. Okay, so apparently big checks are in vogue this afternoon, and I am not done with the surprise investment announcements. So before I close us out, I need to ask, is Amanda Oborn, now with IdeaShip versus being the ED of OEN, is she in the room? I know she is. Amanda, can you please come up here for a minute? Amanda, do you have something you'd like to talk to the audience about?
Yeah, thanks, Kara.
Yeah, good, okay.
Hi, it's very nice to meet all of you that I haven't met before. My name is Amanda Oborn, and I am the managing director of IdeaShip. And a year ago, I was standing on this stage doing the lovely Vanna White job that Kara is now doing, because we founded this event last year. And as Skip said, the planner in me was very aware of the weather and that we had picked this beautiful venue and we couldn't see out the windows because it was rainy and gray. But I'm on a personal note, I'm very excited to have been involved in the launch of Angel Oregon Life and Bioscience a year ago, and the collaboration that brought it together and the energy in the room that brought this community together, and now to be back this year as an investor. So I'm here on behalf of IdeaShip, which is a venture fund based here in Portland that invests in companies that are developing novel, truly innovative intellectual property, and we support them with patent work. And we make an investment, and we support their journey throughout the whole life of the company. And I am very excited to announce that I, too, have a big check today. And it will go to Keliomics. And I think we were the last thing standing between y'all and the wine, so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask one more important question. Amanda, how did you get introduced to Frank and Keliomics?
Through AOBIO.
Through AOBIO. They served on a panel together. So this is just like the beauty of this network, is that everyone can connect. So Riley, I am not good at math. Can I ask you a quick question? How much money did we just catalyze in this room? I think it was $575,000. Anybody want to throw in the last 25? We can maybe find a big check for you. I will talk to people anytime. All right, never mind. So what we just witnessed is what I love about the Oregon Entrepreneurs Network, all the pieces coming together to support the region's founders. I need to ask you all to give yourselves a round of applause, because this doesn't happen without all of you. So round of applause for yourselves. I also want to just thank everyone that went through the program. It is really hard for me as an empath to not give everyone a prize, or maybe that just makes me a millennial. I don't know. But every single one of these companies has been introduced to funders and businesses that can help them, and they are here tonight to keep talking to you. So my last thank you goes to all of my fabulous friends and my family members who are in this room. Watch out, my Aunt Mary is here. She is a physician. She will ask you hard questions about your products. And thank all of your families for allowing you to spend this time with us. And I hope that you'll take a little bit of time to visit with these folks and get acquainted over happy hour because we have this venue for another hour and a half. So with that, we're done. Thank you so much.